Here we go. This is episode 40 something of the Too Fast podcast. We are joined by a very special guest. He's one of the only chief nuclear officers on the entire continent of Australia, a retiree of the U.S. Navy whose career included more shipyard tours than what anyone could reasonably consider safe to the human psyche, a Middle East deployment in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, a tour at Naval Reactors, and much, much more. He's the most interesting nuke in the world. He is your favorite division officer's favorite division officer, Mr. Mark Schneider. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. That was a great intro. I love it.
All right. Did I get it all right?
You did. Yeah, you did good.
Cool.
Dive. Code red and 4 compartment middle level.
Torpedoes in the water!
No, I never have thought I was smart. I thought the people I dealt with were dumb, including you.
Thanks for being here. There's a lot to cover. I think you have, like I said there, I think you have the most interesting career, probably maybe in the history of the Navy, certainly the modern Navy. Can you kind of fill in the gaps that I didn't hit there?
Yeah. So I'll just I guess maybe I'll go through my entire career that got me all the way here to support Australia. And there are some crazy twists and turns. So I joined the Navy right out of high school. I am one of the few nukes that wanted to be a nuke. So first off, I chose to be a nuke. I loved being a nuke. I love nuclear power. Joined the Navy, went through the pipeline. I decided to try to become an officer then, and I got sent to Oregon State University after I went through my training, and then proceeded to have issues and go to the fleet after a year. So I was part of what was the nuclear enlisted commissioning program that then became State 21. So I was one of those jackasses that took those spots and then went back to the fleet. Then I went to USS Michigan, got qualified, recovered from that time at Oregon State, made first class, and I was the junior of 6 first classes as we rolled in to the shipyard. So that's shipyard tour number 1. So I took her in for overhaul and conversion. So when I arrived on USS Michigan, she was SSBN 727, and when I left, she was SSGN 727.
What shipyard was that?
That was Puget Sound Naval Shipyard.
Okay.
So then I decided I wanted to stay in Pacific Northwest, but go to another boomer up there. So I went to USS Alabama, Roll Tide. So I went and I was the LPO there. I survived a chief being fired while I was on USS Alabama. With the chief was fired after RC division was declared the best division by the ORS team.
And then the RC div chief got fired?
Yeah, the RC div chief got fired.
Jesus.
So I was known as the glue for the division, and we had like a bunch of junior. We were junior division too. So
yeah,
it was all through our brute determination. I don't want to say it was mine. I was just the glue. They did all the work. So I left there. I wanted to extend. I took it into shipyard again because I'm a glutton for shipyards.
Yeah.
So I took it in took USS Michigan in, or Alabama in, to the shipyard. And then I was trying to extend. And the detailer said, "Hey, I need you to give me your last 3 evals." I'm like, "Wait a minute. This means you want me to go to prototype."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, no. You're not getting those.
I can't find them."
Yeah. So I said, "Hey, what other, since you're telling me I can't stay at sea, well, what do you have in the area?" And he goes, "Well, I got a non-propay billet." I'm like, "All right." So I got assigned a Trident training facility. If you've been to TTF, they've got a big INC lab with ETMS. I didn't work at ETMS. I worked with them. But I provided lab support for ETMS. I qualified as basic electronics test equipment instructor and advanced electronics and maintenance techniques instructor. About 50% nukes, 50% non-nukes. I hated being on the podium at TTF, and I'd made chief, and then there was a weird gap where, as the individual augmentee program was ramping up, where we were there, they were unsure of who they were sending or what was needed, and people that were in critically manned billets were being sent, and then there were people that were saying we're exempt and we weren't. And so the chief of naval operations said, "This is open for everyone in the Navy." And
wow.
Kirkland Donald said, well, not my nukes. And then the chief of naval operations said, this is open to everyone in the Navy.
Jeez.
So if you weren't in a pro-pay billet, that's what that meant. So I was
Okay.
able to stake myself into an individual augmentee assignment. I volunteered to go, which was really funny because when I did my interviews in DC, they thought I was forced. So I volunteered to go. I went and I was assigned to Navy Provisional Detainee Battalion 3. So 422 sailors from 220 commands were active and reservists. We assembled in Port Hueneme, California in 3 phases. So we had our headquarters element, our Alpha company came. 2 weeks later, Bravo company arrived, and 3 weeks later, Charlie company arrived. The headquarters group arrived a week before Alpha company, and then all of us after 3 weeks after we had our time there, 2 weeks in Port Hueneme with Alpha company, we flew out to Fort Eustis, Texas, and then went east from Fort Eustis, Texas, which is in outside of El Paso, and went into New Mexico. So we had traveled northeast to get into New Mexico. We were like right on that little corner between New Mexico and Texas, to Camp McGregor, where it was really just an army training base that was just shit. And
what'd you do there?
So we did it. It was our basic it was our pre-deployment combat training. So
Wow.
we fired rifles. I learned how to drive Humvee. We did combat lifesaver training. We did like detention operations. So I learned how to do force shell extractions. Learned how to I did basically what any grunt soldier would do.
Okay.
We did it there was Canadian soldiers going through it. There was Air Force guys going through it. It was awesome. Here's a funny story was that we brought with us who was going to be the FOB commander, forward operating base commander, this Navy captain. And I watched a bunch of these Army soldiers fail to salute, right? I'm a brand new chief, mind you, failed to salute my fucking captain.
Yeah.
And I walk up and, I'm a freaking young, 26-year-old chief petty officer. Hey, Sergeant, why didn't you salute my fucking captain, my Fulberg captain? You not salute Fulberg colonels in the U.S. Army? So the next day, everyone was saluting anyone with a bird on their chest.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't forget to salute the half-bird captains.
Yeah. The old boot camp. Boot camp manners. Yeah.
And when in doubt, salute.
Just in case.
So then it's like, oh my God, there are hundreds of officers in the Navy.
And they're all so high ranking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. So then after that time, we deployed to our unit arrived in so this was in I left TTF for the deployment in January. On April 7th, we arrived in Kuwait City, Kuwait, for deployment. I know that date really well because my birthday was the day after. So I gotta.
Nice.
We arrived, and by the time we landed on the base, I remember we landed on a Camp Beering. We arrived at Camp Beering for our training before we went into Iraq because there's training along the way. Our sleep schedules are all jacked up from like a good 24 hours of flying.
Jeez.
And there was a Green Beans coffee and it started raining. And this is when you know you're in the wrong fucking place. The rain was coming down and there was sand in the rain.
Whoa. Oh man.
That's rough. So on the lid of my coffee cup, because I wanted the clear plastic, I got like a foo-foo frozen drink, and there was sand grains in the water droplets.
Jeez, yeah. Welcome to it.
Yeah, so that's when you know you've hit the suck. So we went, and then my unit decided to leave me behind in Kuwait as a liaison officer, which is just a fancy go figure shit out guy, right? And then I ended up at Camp Ali Al Salim, which is, I don't know if you remember watching all the bunker buster bombs and the first Persian Gulf War.
On February 27, 1991, 2 Air Force F-111 fighters dropped their laser-guided penetrators on a command and control bunker suspected of housing top Iraqi military officials. The first aircraft missed the target. The second one, however, was a hit, and if you look closely, in a few seconds you will see smoke pouring out of the bunker's air vents. This suggested that a bomb had found its way deep into the bunker, which was later verified using bomb assessment photos.
That's where that was at. So literally I drove by those depending on where I was going on that facility. To give you an idea, I was a super yeoman, would be the best way to describe it. It was
Nice.
just figure
Aren't they
out
all?
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing emergency leave, but I was like, and I would just get weird shit done. Like they were transferring crossings between where they were crossing. Our unit was in Camp AUKUS, Iraq, which is all the way down south, in the southeast, near where is, near there where their major port is. There was a big detention facility there, and I was, by the way, I was ponied up to the brigade, which meant I was also ponied up to the Corps. I had 3 bosses. I had a Navy commander I worked for. I had an Army major I worked for, and I had Air Force major I worked for.
Jeez.
And I mom and pop the fuck out of them.
As you should have.
Yep.
Yeah,
of course.
and well, they weren't used to a nuke because they weren't used to people that would read procedures and follow them.
I was gonna
And
ask
then
about that.
and then also knew how to manipulate them.
We'll see lawyering.
They've never seen a sea lawyer in the desert. That's for sure.
Yeah. I used to joke, people like, what is a sailor doing here? I said, yeah, I'm nuclear trained. You know what's going on in Iran? Foreshadowing. Yeah. So one of the things is we crossed the crossing. You went from a 20-minute drive from the crossing in Kuwait into Camp Buka to a 3-hour drive through what were known as IED black roads, meaning it wasn't a matter of if you were going to hit, it was a matter of when and where.
Fuck.
So part of that is that in order to facilitate transferring units and, more importantly, people that are going on R&R, rest and recovery leave, we need to set up a helicopter operation. So I got to set up a helicopter operation. So I have flown in Blackhawks, Chinooks, Super Stallions from the Navy,
Dude, what the
Merlins
fuck?
from the Royal Navy.
Just your typical submariner.
Just
Yeah.
Submariner.
God damn.
So I submitted my LDO package while I was in the desert. I tracked down the only LDO in Kuwait to do my interview with, and my other 2 interviews were reservist construction battalion officers.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
So yeah.
Were you wearing your dolphins this whole time?
Oh yeah, I had my dolphins on the top.
That's so
the whole
crazy.
time.
Oh, that's
Oh yeah,
so,
it's fucking great. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Well,
it
go ahead.
confuse the fuck out of everybody that's not Navy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it absolutely did.
Yeah.
Well, and so yeah, here's a great story about it. So my first unit when I arrived, that was for the Corps. They swap out corps that we worked for. Was a pure Army unit. So I worked for an Army captain at that point. And then when the new unit came in, it was a blend of Army and Air Force, and that's when the Air Force major came in. And at one point, there's a huge clash between the Army and the Air Force. They're like divorcees, right? whereas the Navy and Marine Corps are like brothers or siblings that just beat each other up. But don't you dare insult each other outside of us.
Right.
But the Army and Air Force are like divorcees and just fucking hate each other. So we had it was an I didn't realize it was supposed to be only Army, but they invited me and the other sailor from my unit into this. We're trying to figure out how to work with the Air Force meeting. And I literally like, hold on, how the fuck does this work? You know, like, I'm the Navy guy. Why can't the Air Force figure out that we work for multinational Corps Iraq, which fall in 5th Army, not 5th Air Force.
Right.
And all they go, Chief, sit down. You're Narmy.
Narmy. Yeah.
Narmy.
Yeah.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah. They made T-shirts that said Narmy for us. Like, they were great. It was fucking great, dude. Yeah. Oh yeah. I love the Army. Like those dudes. Like they got it. So then I came back to the States. That was a real tough transition, but I came back. Went to TTF.
So how did you find out that your LDO you got accepted?
I found out when I got back.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry.
So I didn't find out until I got back. So when I was there during my training, I got awarded. So here we'll go into weird medals that I have earned.
Oh, yeah.
Because of a clerical error, I am awarded the Army Combat Action Badge because General Odinero didn't want to sign 166 certificates, so he signed one for the whole unit. So I have an Army Combat Action Badge.
That's the forgive my ignorance. That's the long rifle one, right?
No. That's long rifle one's infantry. This is the short one with the Bowie knife.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so this.
Can you find that at the Next?
Yes, they
Really
sell them now.
nice. Okay.
They sell them now. I used to not be able to find my words because I was still in Bangor. I used to have to go down to down towards Tacoma, Washington to get them. But because they had expanded it.
Yeah, they sell them now for you.
Well,
Yeah.
there were other people that did individual augmentee assignments. By the way, I am one of 7 enlisted nukes to have gone.
Yeah, the fact that it's a nuke is crazy.
Yeah, but the others were like forced because of language or sent because they were short. They were getting out, and it was like a 6-month. So screw you, nuke for getting out of my Navy.
Was it a variety of other rates that you came across, like Navy?
Oh
guys?
yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I mean, rates that I never heard of.
Right.
Like yeah, it was just because it was everything, and I also learned that I hate SEALs. Navy SEAls are arrogant. Navy SEAls are just arrogant fucks who think the rules don't apply to them.
I don't think I've ever heard anything other than that about SEAls.
Yeah. We don't have to roll our sleeves down. I'm like,
Right.
well, motherfucker, this is what the requirement is.
Yeah.
If you want me to help you, fucking roll your sleeves down.
Nice.
Well, I'm not going to. All right. Have a nice day. See ya.
So I think that the nuclear Navy kind of coddles nukes a lot into thinking, maybe justifiably or not, that they're like smarter than everybody else. Was there a large intelligence gap, or was it just the way you operated? Like,
so my favorite quote in my helicopter operation, because I'm a nuke, I built a procedure on how to fill out my form and how to get onto the bus, right? And had revision control.
Nice.
Like had revision control because I'm a nuke, right?
Yeah.
And
you're also the log room yeoman.
Yeah. So these guys would roll up there. These soldiers roll up there, and they would read the thing, and they would go, or they would stare at it like, "What do I do?" And I'm like, "Well, there's a fucking instruction right there. Like,
you circle exit, motherfucker."
There's a fucking instruction right there." And they're like, "Yeah, well, I don't want to read." I'm like, "There's a fucking instruction right there."
Okay, yeah, I think that answers the question.
Yeah. Hand them some crayons.
Now, what I will tell you is that copies of it had been sent out, and I had officers coming down that would come down from Baghdad that needed to get to Camp Bucca, and they would have printed copies of because I made it a 1-page procedure, and it was the guys in Baghdad loved it because like, we know how to get there, we know what we had to do, cool. Like fill your name out, and I put in there like I had bolded, starred items like these are important things. Like I need to know how much you weigh and how much your bags weigh, because what I can't do is load up 300-pound or 10 300-pound motherfuckers with 150 pounds of baggage with 10 80-pound girls with no baggage. Right. And then I end up freaking unevenly burning fuel. Like I'm, thinking it from, the helicopter pilot's lab, because I would take these handwritten things and I put it into a manifest, and I would actually load the weights for the load masters with the people. And so they're like, oh, this is freaking great. Like, because normally they would like, when they would talk about moving units and they would be shuffling people back and forth.
Right.
And then when they rolled the flight line, because for the Blackhawks, it was 10 per, there'd be 10 people lined up, and there'd be the equal number of bags and equal number of people that all, big guy, small, like they were all about the same size. And loadmaster's like, get on the helicopter. This is a heck of a lot faster. You saved us 5 minutes. And so that nuclear, mindset of coordinating maintenance schedules is something they weren't used to. So that was nice. That was awesome. So in my training, one of my favorite things is that I managed the leave for everyone for our entire unit. They just had me like coordinate it all. And what I mean by manage is that we wrote leave chits for everyone so that when they went back, their commands wouldn't put them to work during our 2-week period we had before we deployed. And then when they all got back, they turned them back in. And I don't know if you ever know Rick Rose. He was the CMC for TTF Kings Bay. So he was another sub guy, but he was our chief of the battalion. That was the term he liked to call himself. So he was the CMC for the unit. And he goes, I collected them all. He goes, all right, Master Chief, what do you do with them? And he goes, go over to the mayor's office. That's what they called the base commander's office for the training command at Camp McGregor. And he goes, shred them.
Nice. Yeah.
So I got an AM for shredding leaf papers. Shredding leaf papers.
Nice.
So,
heroic name.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. Army Achievement Medal. I got an Army Achievement Medal for shredding.
Even cooler.
Yeah. And then I got an Army Commendation Medal for setting up that helicopter operation.
That makes sense.
And that got sent to me in the mail. And then my end of deployment award was an Army Commendation Medal. So I get back to TTF, and then like the first award ceremony, like like you got to go to it, and there's Captain Prince, my CO, pinning me with an Army Commendation Medal, and it was like, like how badass it is, like when you just got back from deployment, you're getting, and I'm stacked at this point right now, 5 rows of ribbons for a boomer sailor.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, when you wear your dress uniform, do you just confuse the fuck out of like everybody around you?
Yeah,
like how you have everything that you have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I have one of those where like when I'm walking around, like it's just ka-chink, ka-chink, ka-chink. Because
you're gonna develop shoulder issues with the weight on that side.
Yeah. So then I get back and I knew this was gonna be a long part of it. Was talking about that, but so I get back and I find out I get commissioned. I'm getting commissioned. I get selected, and then I go to. So this is like early 2008. I get selected for LDO, and then I go to DC. And this is my first of 2 admiral discussions that I made admirals' eyes go like saucers and changed naval policy. So you go to Naval Reactors for your interviews when you become an LDO, right? So I'm with there, and it's all first classes and chiefs. Give you an idea, big events going on at the time is the Air Force is not knowing how to manage nuclear weapons programs. And so I arrived early because I'm a Navy Nuke, and that's what we do, right? And so I'm at the Navy Yard, and I go and they're like, hey, go next door. There's a cafeteria. Come back in an hour or whatever. Because like, you're nervous, right? And when I'm nervous, I just show up early and wait around, do nothing. And I'm literally opening the door into the cafeteria area, and there is a 3-star admiral in a full sprint. And about runs into me. God. It's Naval Sea Systems Command. It's the 3-star in charge of NAVSEA, right? Admiral Donald kind of works under, depending on which hat he's wearing. And what I found out was he was on a sprint to go inform Admiral Donald that he was going to be running the investigation on the Air Force. We found that out several hours later.
Wow.
So then we go in and we go to our interview. We go to the interview step. The interview is a 2-day process. So the first day is your technical interviews with the different section heads and Naval Reactors representatives. So mixture of civilians and officers. By the way, if you've never been in Naval Reactors, it's really weird because there's 3 people that wear uniforms. It's the admiral, his aide, and then the bull nuke. So everyone else, like we have, you have commanders and captains that are wearing civilian clothes around. Oh, and then the detailer shows up and he's in uniform. And then you're all in uniform, obviously.
Is the technical interview like question and answer?
Yes.
Like
it's like
explain.
Yeah, it's think of it like a level of knowledge interview, but maybe level of knowledge interview, but it's not like how to operate this plant. It's like nuclear Navy go, or what's maybe more specific to your rate. Now it was hilarious because there's 31 of us and they're scheduling us through like a dozen people, and so we would there all these different schedules, and like we're sitting in this big conference room waiting, and everyone's going to these technical interviews, and all these 30 other people, and they're all the superstar nukes. Most of them were from Power School Prototype, and then from PERSCOM, right? Navy Personnel Command. And everyone's going in there like, man, these technical interviews are fucking hard. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because I'm getting asked what the life in the desert was like.
I
had one technical question in the entire thing, and he asked me what the basis behind the estimated critical position was the entire.
Nice.
And I was so hoping though that he was going to ask me what the basis behind an ECP was, because I was going to draw him an entry control point, which is how you gain access to a base.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we called them ECPs.
He said it. He said estimated critical position. I was like, God damn it. What did you say ECP? Because I was going to describe to you why you have 2 guards out front, why you have the serpentine, why you have the freaking tower with the 50 caliber machine gun to freaking kill the people. So you let the bomb through. Like, I was totally ready for it, and I didn't get asked. I'm so excited.
I don't think that one's in the sub IC manual.
Yeah. So the technical interviews were great. And then the next day we come back and we do the interview with the admiral. I was number 16. So I was literally the guy in the middle.
Is that the cutoff?
No, it's 31 total. So guy in the middle, meaning like in the order you're going through.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So you go in, and there's like, because it's like an old machine shop that is the Navy Yard. And so there's like what would have been a air conditioning boundary into an office area. And so in this vestibule, there's the chair. You've heard about the chair with the front legs cut off. The Rickover
Special, yeah.
Yeah, Rickover's chair is there. There's some panel from like some test reactor thing with a picture of Rickover and Carter, like when Carter was president. So it's like this freaking like Rickover mini
shrine?
museum.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little shrine. And then there's like this big giant open office area, and the admiral's office is back to the right. And when you're going in there, you get prepped for this. You have this litany you have to say about yourself. I'm so and so, and ends with, and my commissioning date is, and then the admiral lifts his head and talks to you. And that's how the 12 people before me that had come back
So what
explained. Yeah, like, oh yeah, it's absolute pageantry. Your interview is like 90 seconds long for most people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're not, I mean, it's really quick. You know, the admiral asks a couple of questions. He asked you an integrity question, and then you're gone, right? And then you come back and like literally you stand outside. There's like some commanders that are there, and they have you stand by. They literally walk up. They say, you have been selected for EOCVN. You've been selected for Naval Reactors, or get out of my fucking program.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So like, there's no wait. There's no wait. And then you're done. So, but all the early people, of course, are debriefing us because they feel bad because it's like 10 a.m. and they're getting out, and you're having to wait through this. So I go into my interview, right? And everyone before me said the admiral's reading your package. And then when you say on my commissioning date, he looks up to you.
Okay.
So I step through the door. Good morning, Admiral, because he's fucking staring at me. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Right. So I go through and I get my litany. You're supposed to sit down while you're still talking, right? It's the whole thing. You're sitting on the chair, and my commissioning date is this. First things first, I want to describe Admiral Donald never had a sat haircut in the time he had 4 stars. So the keeping me was fucking pissed. And then, by the way, 4 stars on khakis looks stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big giant bar. Make them a cluster. I'm sorry, 4 stars. Like it doesn't fit. Like you have to put it weird and high. It's like that's the 2 things I focused on. So he's like asking me some things. He goes, oh, so you said that you're part of the IA engagement team. Well, how many people are you managing? I said, well, there's 6 of us doing it. So we got 26 people on IA assignment. And he goes, is that for Navy Region Northwest? I said, no, that's Trident Training Facility. 13% of our military workforce is currently deployed in the Middle East. And he goes, oh shit. He had no idea. It was like that.
Whoa, really?
People supporting the Army. And he goes, wow. And he goes, and then he asked me, he goes, why are sailors so frustrated by the fact that, that they're being asked to support that? I mean, that is frustrating. I said, well, the Navy's been continuously deploying since 1775, and the Army can't hack it for a few years. I mean, he said it just like that. He's like, he's like, eyes get big, and he goes, well, yeah, well, some of these guys have been going through, they're on their 3rd deployment. I said, well, yeah, that's because the Army can't do math. I said, the Army has enough people. They could send 140,000 soldiers over there without having on 9-month deployments, without sending the same people over if everyone deployed. But they have units they keep sending over there. And so then you could see him like, well, how does that work? And I'm like, yeah, I said, they sent someone over with math, and I can do math, and I, fixed the problem for him. So
I don't think they took that into consideration.
No, they did not. So if we fast forward, then his integrity question, the integrity question he asked, though, is, so have you been on an IA assignment? And I literally looked down at my ribbon rack, which has my dolphins on top. The top row of my medal rack is Army Commendation Medal, Navy Achievement Medal, Army Achievement Medal, and I have an Army Combat Action Badge. And I look at him and go, yeah. Yeah, like I literally like is that a serious question? But that was my integrity question, was to see if I would lie to the admiral. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie with the proof on my chest.
Yeah. What would you get out of saying no anyway?
Yeah. Well, then he goes, and then he goes, how was it? I said, it was the greatest tour I've had of my career so far. I think that we should allow the opportunity for every nuke to take a year off to go work in the rest of the Navy, because it makes you appreciate what it means to be a nuke.
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah.
And it really did. And I wholeheartedly believe that. It was the best tour of my career, and it made me better nuke. The biggest thing it did was it made me able to communicate with different services. So yeah, so I got done with that interview. I got selected for Naval Reactors at that point. And then I go back to TTF. And then
were you hoping for NR?
What's that?
Were you hoping for NR out of the LDO process?
Yeah, you have to volunteer for it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so NR is not an NR. If you don't want to go NR, so if you volunteer for NR, you have 3 interviews. If you don't, you only do 2. So if you're only going to be EOCVN, you do 2. You do 3 if you do NR. technical interview. So you volunteer for an extra interview if you want to do Naval Reactors. And about, I think 50% of people volunteer for it and get selected, or 50% volunteer for it, and then 50% of those get selected, or maybe it's a little more than that. There's a few that are in the fleet because 25% of all nuclear LDOs are the NR field reps.
Right.
So yeah, so I get back and I go back to TTF, and then Admiral Greenert, who was Fleet Forces Command at the time, is doing a tour around, and he wants to speak with all individual augmentees that have gone. And so I come in there, and and the people that are on deployment, their spouses. So let me tell you, that was a fun meeting. A bunch of freaking spouses angry that their husbands are in the desert, not at home, when like they just got off a ship, right? So and then
spouses whose husbands weren't there.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus
I mean, God bless Admiral Greenert for going into that lion's den.
Yeah, no kidding.
I will say that, but then, so there's all these people bitching, and I'm kind of off to the side, and I go, all right, does anyone have anything? And I literally raised my hand. I said, Admiral, I said, for the love of God, can you make the Navy orders not 30 pages thick? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, we are required to carry 10 copies of our orders everywhere we go. That's almost a ream of paper.
Yeah, it is.
I go, I can move 300 soldiers in the United States Army on 2 pieces of paper. Why can't I move one soldier on 2 pieces of paper, or one sailor on 2 pieces of paper? And he goes, we are literally causing back problems for our sailors.
I don't think that's, I mean, they got a little shorter than that, but yeah, they're still pretty lengthy.
Well, what they did was they figured out was that for the IA assignments in the future, they had a section. These are the items you need that have the lines of accounting and what you need for your IA. So all this other stuff, everyone has to have their hands in the pot, but then the lines of accounting, and then there was like specific things about the unit they had separated so that there was just a one pager that the guys would carry. So they reordered it and restructured around that.
Nice.
And then I told them my math story too.
Cool.
And within 6 months, we went from 26 people on individual augmentee assignment to 6. So figured out, and then then the Army changed policies where in order to be a recruiter, a drill instructor, or an instructor, you had to have been on deployment. And then they started. So I changed Army policy. I like to think I did.
Yeah. Get more people over there.
Yeah. So then I get commissioned, and I go to the Naval Reactors field office in Newport News, Virginia. Brand new ensign. Oh, by the way, at my commissioning ceremony. So my commissioning ceremony is a lot of fun. At least, I mean, obviously was for me. So I had my when I had my rank pulled off, I had chiefs that I'd served with rip all my rank off. And then I had officers that were all prior enlisted I served with put on my new
Oh, that's
rank.
really cool.
It's cool.
Yeah. And then my first salute, I don't know if anyone knows Kevin Witt or not, but he was my A school instructor. He was my first chief. He was my mentor. And so he was my first salute. And I literally gave him a silver dollar that I'd found amongst my Marine Corps Navy Cross winning grandfather's stuff.
Oh, nice.
And
wow.
And I framed the coin with a list of all the things that were in the box that I had. Like 50 caliber bullets from the battle payload that were shot from a Dauntless fighter at my grandfather's unit. That's a U.S. fighter, by the way. I had like things from my hometown, picture my grandfather's service photo, like all this cool stuff. My CO pinned me, but my guest speaker was my brigade commander, Colonel Chambliss.
That is awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was pretty badass. And then I got Colonel Chambliss a tour of the USS Seawolf.
Oh wow!
Oh,
so here's this Army colonel, and so think about it. I heard stories from the sailors that were on the Seawolf later on where they're like, "Dude, it was awesome one day. We heard ding ding, Colonel, United States Army arriving." Ding.
Yeah, if I heard that in maneuvering, I would think someone's about to get removed from watch because that's
that's not right.
Well, and then the best part was that he's touring. Now we obviously couldn't go in the engine room because I had my family with me too. So the colonel's like part of my family. Nice. So I got my family tour, and we go into the torpedo room upper level, right? Because Seawolf has 2 torpedo rooms, and he looks around and he goes, "Holy shit, there are more hydraulic valves in this torpedo room than there is in a battalion of tanks. And he
Yeah.
goes, I will never, ever bitch about a submarine being delayed in construction.
Yeah.
Fair point. Yeah, fair point.
I go, this is the easy part. You should see the engine room.
Yeah. There's like hardly specs
Yeah.
for these.
Yeah. So then I get commissioned and put on my uniform for a day, take it off, and wear a tie.
So then you were the bad guy. You became the bad guy.
I was So
Yeah.
not only did I have my spine removed, I had my soul removed as well. So then I end up in the Naval Reactors field office. A guy named Rick Weber. I love the dude. He was a surface sailor, served on cruisers, was like my sponsor. Naval Reactors field office is 25 people at the time. It was 38 when I left the Navy. So if you think having one Naval Reactors guy come on, imagine 25 where 20 of them are there to fuck you.
At a time.
So I mean, like we would do a Monday morning meeting, and you would literally have like we all had BlackBerries, and your friends, the people that had your back, would text you, hey, you misspelled this thing. Make sure you bring that up. Like fucking petty to a level you have never seen.
Yeah.
So so I got put in charge. I was the first regulator on Minnesota, and I was in the submarine group. I did the opening audit for the S6G FIDE down in Norfolk. I worked in New Mexico. Got to work carriers, and I was a young, dumb, green Naval Reactors guy. But our deputy NRR, who was a GS-15 retired Navy commander that had been at that field office since he commissioned in like the 70s or something. Like he'd been there forever. Like literally, like we were pretty certain that they were going to bronze him when he left. He'd been there so long. But I mean, he was I enjoyed the dude, but he was a guy who was very humbling and like explained stuff in a manner and was like, hey, realize that you may be an ensign, but you have a lot of authority. And when you walk on board an aircraft carrier with an Admiral Select as a commander, remember that, your comments. I mean, that was a weird thing is that I went and we were doing an NRR briefing with a new CO on a submarine. And while he was during his PCO time. All right. So sorry. No, we did the briefing and then he was commissioned and he came up and I was doing a monitor watch at the 6G FIDE. And he came in there and he was with the CEO of Submarine Learning Facility. And the CEO says, oh, Mr. Schneider was on my boat the other day giving me CO training. And I was like, that is a crazy humbling statement to hear, is to be told that I, as an ensign, am training a CO.
That is wild.
So I had very much a lot of deference to what I was doing. Like I definitely, I didn't want to be the asshole NR guy.
Right.
And I definitely did. It's very disheartening for me. You can obviously tell I'm a pretty personal guy, but when you walk into the room filled with sailors, and they're all laughing and joking, and you walk in and it goes silent.
Yep. Every time.
And every time. And it hurts. It hurts because you're like, man, I used to be you.
And that, if you say what you guys laughing about, it's like, oh fuck, he's gonna write that down.
Yeah, he's like,
Yep.
But specifically the crew at the California, because I did a lot of work with them. I became notorious for the NR guy that would write unofficial comments that were jokes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I would write, contrary to the Sea Lawyer Manual.
Coming from the background that you did, I mean, you understood the brevity that was kind of required in some of those scenarios for those guys.
Yeah,
for sure.
And being in that position.
We had a CO that still would have had us get counseling chits for some of those comments.
No. These were not comments. These were, I'm handing you a card that's a joke.
Gotcha. Okay.
Don't show it to anyone. But they knew. Like I got to know the LDOs well enough. They like I'm friends with all of them still.
That's cool.
My favorite comment I ever gave was I looked at an XO and told them that your formality has become informal. that was a formal comment I made. No, I told them, I said, it was California during their briefings. They were so set on following the Doctrine for Interior Communications that if you misspoke while giving something, you were wrong.
Right.
And they would stand up and it became a one-upsmanship.
Yep.
And I was like, and there was this sailor that was just, he was constantly being berated. I mean, he was constantly being berated and beaten down. Now, remember, I come from a background where we have to lift up everyone because we're in the fucking shit.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm the regulator and I walk up to this guy afterwards. Hey, petty officer so-and-so, I need to talk to you. And he comes up to me and I go, hey, and I written down every question he had gotten wrong. And I go, hey, all right, let's go through these questions. And he's like, and he goes, and he starts to go to like, stop fucking talking like a robot and talk to me like a human being. And he answered every question exactly right. I said, that is the standard. You're required to know the information. I don't care if you can do some stupid fucking litany. Right. And I walked over to the XO and I said, your formality has become so informal because it has become an impedance to your sailors being able to demonstrate their knowledge.
For sure.
And it was like, and the great thing is that XO had served with me before.
Oh, wow.
So he took it and he freaking, he took that comment. He took it like a champ. And it was like, he goes, yeah, I agree with that. That actually makes a lot of sense. And that CO was a dick, but they backed off a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, I want to back up just a little bit. Was the first time you were ever on a carrier as an NR rep?
Yes.
And was it wild?
Yeah, because it was USS Enterprise.
Oh, no shit.
How you always just manage to have like the best answer to each question?
Right. Like the coolest carrier.
So it was USS Enterprise. No, let me tell you how fucking cool this story is.
The freak show.
Yeah, so it's the freak show. So so you have to go around and tour different people as part of your qualification. And so the first carrier get pulled onto, and I've been in the office like a week and a half, right? And I get pulled in, and so I'm being walked through with Sean Lynch, who was kind of notorious for being an asshole NR guy. And we're going through, he takes me to all 4 plants with all 4 EOSs, and they're all fucking different, right? And they're like,
of course it was the Enterprise.
Yeah. And it's like all over. But the best part is we go into 4 plant and number 4 EOS. And I see the watch team is there, and there's the shift test engineer. And I look at her and I go, was your name Picard? And she goes, yes, it's not anymore. Thanks for telling everyone that my name's Picard and I'm working on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
But she was one of the staff pickups that was one of my instructors in prototype.
Wow.
So we're like having this aha moment.
Yeah.
By the way, she's here in Australia with me.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's one of my wife's best friends. So all right. So now we really have to get into this. So Nikki is her name, Nikki Picard. She ends up, while all this is going on and I'm doing my thing, learning how to become an NR guy, learning how to be the asshole and failing at that aspect, learning how to one of the great things is that we'll segue back to Nikki in a second. But one of the things that was great was that I watched the asshole NRO guys. They had to work like nonstop reviewing things and looking at shit, trying to find discrepancies because we got to get a letter to the admiral. Meanwhile, you obviously recognize that I could talk to people. Well, I became the NR guy that would just talk to everyone. And so I would run through the sub shop where they're making, the components of the torpedo 2 racks, they're making the primary shield tanks, and the workforce wasn't afraid of me. And so they'd walk up to me and they'd be like, hey, sir, come here. And they're like, walk over and I'm like, hey, all right, what's this? And I'm like, all right, look at it. I'm like, oh, all right. So look at whatever it is. And I'm like, what am I looking at? It's like, oh, well, they're telling me to do something that's not in accordance with our procedures. I'm like, oh, is this a now thing, or do you want me to come back tomorrow and find this?
Yeah.
And he goes, you come back tomorrow and find this? I said, absolutely. Come back in. I'm like, go up and look at it. Like, General Foreman, come here. Do you see this? This is contrary to the procedure. Blah blah blah. You signed off on this, right? Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't write my letters. I didn't write the
Right.
IDs of my letters. It was the friggin' shipyard workers, right?
Yeah,
As
that's
the
cool.
regulator, get to know that was how I did it. Like I learned how to become invisible in a freaking tie in a shipyard
Right.
because I just treated everyone like human beings. Most of the NRO guys like got a fucking big old head.
Yeah, did it make you
So
like an ugly duckling in the office to be not shitty?
no, because there were several of us that were like that.
Okay.
And some guys were super cool in the office. I remember we had this one guy, Ricky Freeman, big dude, former ELT. I mean, like big, like Andre the Giant sized.
Jesus.
And
Submarine
and
guy?
he was he was a carrier guy.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Good for him.
But he was always when he was at ELT, he was always the guy that do primary samples so that the ORS team could never see it. Because
Oh,
you physically
clever.
could not see.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was that
Oh,
guy,
yeah.
right? He was that guy. And he was a super cool dude. Like he was funny, but he whenever we do our monitor watches, we would print up our letter, dear Admiral, this ship sucks, and here's how. And we printed off two copies. And one of the copies, we would write our notes on it. Well, Ricky wrote like he spoke. And so literally he'd be like, just I saw it, contrary to the water chemistry manual, this ELT did the following. And then his notes aside, I got that stupid fucker fired. Like, and this is going to the NRR, who was a senior executive equivalent to a 3-star, right?
Jeez.
And it was hilarious. Like, so there were cool dudes in the office, but yeah, I was an ugly duckling, Mr. Knoll. I mean, I think he loved me. I was one of the fastest to qualify joint test group. Meanwhile, the other guy that showed up to me that I think he's way smarter than me. Understood things like that dude failed his joint test group qual like 3 times. So I think it was just my ability to, like you said, I can answer the questions really quickly, to take something, assess it, and not be a dick, but also like, hey, here's the right way to do it. Like, not directing anything.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's fast forward. This is like second year, Minnesota's construction is early on. The crew's starting to show up, but I'm really working more with the California stuff. And Nikki has transferred from the A2W group to the S9G group as a shift test engineer, and she's working. And then, I was of course knew the chief test engineers really well. And my chief test
to S9G.
Yeah,
That's a wild transition.
Yeah, Nikki, by the way, is the first woman to qualify ST on 9G.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So,
it's a whole different thing.
Well, there were a couple that came over. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm working with these guys every day, and I meet with my chief test engineer who, for Minnesota most days of the week, and then he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, I've got a new toy." And I'm like, "What do you mean you got a new toy?" And he brings me into they call them log rooms, had a north log room, south log room, and then the middle log room. And he brings me in there, and there's this cute little blonde.
Oh God.
And I'm like, all right. I'm like, okay.
That's what he was
cool.
referring to?
Yeah. It was this cute new
Jesus
toy.
Oh,
Christ.
jeez.
I'm like, God, now gotta remember, Lonnie served on USS Mississippi and had met Rick over in person.
All right.
And I'm like,
Time.
dude, this is completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you like? A, I'm the regulator, and B,
Right. Yeah.
So then we go back up, and then later on, like I'm doing, I think the guy who was the regulator, the lead for California, had gone off to do. I think we were in a carrier test program, and he had been a carrier guy, so we got off to go work on the carrier, and so they made me the lead. They made me fill in for him, and so now I'm like managing California test program, and so then I go, I'm in instrumentation on California. To give you an idea, California is still in 2 pieces. So like there's an engine room with the reactor compartment, but no hole around the reactor compartment. And the forward half of the submarine isn't even there. Right.
Holy
and so
shit.
I'm in instrumentation, and the cute little blonde shows up. And I mean, I think she's smoking hot. I married her.
Yeah, this would be real fast if that was not your wife you were talking about.
Okay. So I've got my arms covered, right? And she introduced herself because I'm checking her out, mind you, right? I mean, because I've got good reason to. I mean, every sailor has, right? And so she sticks her arm out. She goes, "Hi, I'm Ashley." And I stick my arm out, covering my badge, and go, "Hi, I'm Mark." Right? And she's been told the guys with the 4 letters on their hard hat and the ties, you call them Mr. Last name. And
were you Mark forever then?
always in the presence, or never in the presence of others.
Gotcha. Yeah,
I was
sense.
Mr. Schneider after that, in front of others. But so yeah, so I mean, so naturally, I think she's cute and attractive. One of the things that was really entertaining was watching the tagouts on California, especially when it came to second checks. She was a mechanical test engineer at the time, so the other MTEs come down and
shipyard does the tagouts.
Yeah.
I thought
So
you
the other
watched Schwartz do it.
yeah, all the other MTEs are coming down, and they can't get any sailors to do it. Ashley comes down as a line out of maneuvering.
Yeah, I bet.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was hilarious, right?
Click,
Sailors were
click.
getting in line. Sailors were getting in line to tagouts they had no idea about. So they walk in to brief the second checkers. And
I mean, that's not
LDOs.
That's not that different than every other tag out, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
but there's never a line of people to do it.
Very true. Very true.
Right?
Give me
And so
some
then they're
maintenance
like,
tasks.
yeah, but then they're like briefing, have no idea what they're doing, and it's a bunch of LDOs that are fucking pissed off because they're setting the standard, like, get the fuck out of maneuvering, and they just go get the back of the line.
Nice. I'll try again.
Yeah. It was the funniest thing to watch from the outside.
That is good.
So yeah, so I think she's attractive, and then I'm living on my own. I'm a divorcee at that point, hanging out, and then I got some liquid courage one night and sent her a message on Facebook, and asked her out. And we dated for a few months, and then Naval Reactors found out, and I suddenly was sent out to the USS Abraham Lincoln.
Okay. I was gonna ask. I know you included something about that in your email, and I was like, "There's got to be a big story."
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was fired from Naval Reactors for my dating habits, and I still remember.
Was that explicitly against the rules?
So I will quote Mr. Knoll in the briefing that we had after we came flight. It was coming in, Mark. We all know why we're here, so we're not going to beat around the bush. First things first, you committed no crimes.
Okay.
So they meant the lawyers. They were talking. I think they were going to go down the path of court-martialing. I think was what they were hoping to do.
Jesus Christ.
But I was denuked for 2 weeks during that process, which is pretty entertaining.
It's crazy to hear it from that side because my wife was a GS-12 when we met.
Yeah.
And my wife worked for the 2340, the nuclear testing side. So we met when we were in New Hampshire. I can see where I don't think as many people on our side knew because I was way below the radar in comparison to where you were. So it's interesting to hear from your point of view with that scenario, whereas I kind of had something, kind of in the same ballpark. We were playing the same ball game.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well. So.
Yeah, he was in the majors and you were playing single A.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what was interesting about that was that there's a collection of letters that are effectively the Naval Reactors Manual on how to regulate. It's a collection of letters that literally the one I read that's like in the crusty 1960s paper signed with an original Rickover signature on it is the I'm going to send you a bunch of letters, but you can't talk about them to anyone, which is why I committed no crime, because if you have a series of letters that you're not going to release, therefore those are not official orders. And then letter 2 is I call it the arm's length relationship, and it is not about dating. It is about you represent me to the shipyard from the admiral's perspective, not the shipyard to me. Is there a perceived conflict of interest? Yes. Could they have removed me from that role, shifted me over to another NR office? Yes. But I think that they took it. And I was kind of a dick to Will Knoll because he gave me 3 options. Options 1, that I could break up with her. And I said, well, that's not fucking happening. I channeled my inner Ricky Freedom into an outer vocal Ricky Freeman. Second option was, well, she could quit. And I said, well, she's a single mom, so that's not fucking happening.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, we can remove you from the office. I said, well, ding, ding, ding. Looks like we have a winner.
Yeah. Damn.
So, I mean, I literally was not allowed to speak to anyone in the shipyard. Like it was like I was ostracized. So I was being treated like bullshit. Someone made a comment to me that I was wasting my life on a piece of shipyard ass. Like legitimately said that to me. Meanwhile, she tells her supervision, and they're high-fiving her. Oh, we love Mr. Schneider. He's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
so she's getting high-fived, and I'm getting
reasonable response.
Yeah, and I'm getting, shit all over. So then I get sent to USS Abraham. So by the way, that's shipyard tour number 3.
Oh yeah, I forgot we were counting.
Yeah. So then I get sent to USS Abraham Lincoln. I know they told the detailer West Coast because for some reason there are no East Coast carriers available.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah. So I get sent to USS Abraham Lincoln. It gets awesome though because Naval Reactors has never been able to get rid of me since. So I go over to Abraham Lincoln. I struggled with quals on aircraft carrier because remember I just done 2 years at Naval Reactors, 2 years on shore, or 3 years on shore with 1 year in the desert. I have not qualified a nuclear watch station in 5 years. So I struggled. I got a letter of instruction. I sucked. And by the way,
what was your rank at this point?
I was Lieutenant JG.
Okay.
So and you're also learning this whole new freaking program of an aircraft carrier underway. I reported during the deployment. And by the way, while the sole removal was painful, the reinsertion was 10 times worse.
Yeah, sounds
having
like
my
it.
sole reinserted. I struggled.
Well, they reinsert through the back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, and
yeah.
And the opening requires a telephone pole sideways. So for something little itty bitty, they have to use a giant incision.
Right.
Yeah. So it was painful. I struggled. I was a repair officer, so I was in engineering. My chief engineer, personable guy, didn't have a backbone against anybody who outranked him. He would say, "I'll give you all the support you need to work on your quals," and literally 5 minutes outside of us, "Hey, I need status on this." I'm like, like he just didn't, had a hard time with that. But I didn't care. I didn't mind the guy. He just, he was actually good to work for once I got through my quals and I got qualified. So I'm getting qualified during deployment. Ended up after what's that?
As a repair officer, what are you qualifying?
I qualified. So I had to qualify post-flight watch officer.
Oh, okay. You're doing all the nuke stuff.
Yeah, doing all the nuke quals.
Okay.
Qualified post-flight watch officer, condition 1 and 2. Had to qualify OOD, surface warfare officer, conning officer, all those
Holy
things.
shit. Yeah.
And then also qualified engineering officer watch and reactor duty officer. And remember, I've just had my soul reinserted, so I'm still trying to figure out how to not be a giant dickhead and not regulate, right? Learning how to learning how to put off the regulatory hat. But repair was great. So I remember, being a repair officer, walking into my shop, and this is as far away from nuke ETs as you can get because I was God's rate.
Great.
So as far as being machinery repairmen and hull technicians are about as far from nuke ETs as you can get.
That's true.
Right? Maybe the
Hull
furthest
techs.
from that is boats is mate.
Yeah.
But I walk into my shop and 10 of my sailors jump me, throw me on the ground. I've got this HG2, and she's like, "Sir, take my dick. It's bigger than yours."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Are you guys done? Are you done? Can I go in my office now?"
Yeah.
And I'd see them like they'd be in one of my chiefs. We'd be like standing talking, and I'd see sailors come around like, "Hey, chief, we're about to make out." And he goes, "What do you mean?" Like they pull up and they grab me up and they like bring us in together. Oh, you guys love each other. You guys
Oh my God.
Like, are you guys done? Like,
Yeah. And then you get a maneuvering and it's, "Sir, request the shim."
Yeah.
So well, that was interesting and this is where I think my Army training worked really well, is that there was a language working with in engineering.
Yeah.
I had a manual and procedure on how to talk down in the EOSs, and then I was up on the bridge. I had a different manual on how to talk when you're driving.
Jeez.
And I took kind of that approach of knowledge is always better. When I started my second deployment with them, and I was up on the bridge standing watch, so I got through my quals. I'd survived. Almost got denuked there. So it's the second time I almost got denuked. I made it through, got through, and finally got qualified way late. I was like the third slowest on the ship to get in ship history to get qualified as an officer.
In ship history?
In history.
Yeah. The other two happened to be on the ship with me.
Okay, that's helpful.
No.
That's a big help.
So knowing that, you're the less dirty turd.
Yeah, you're like a rock star.
Yeah.
Well, there were 6 LDOs. That
Oh, okay,
6
okay.
LDO that we all showed up at the time. There was a lot of challenges with reactor training. I won't bitch too much about that. But with 6 of us standing watch on the bridge, we kind of got together as the LDOs, and we were also standing a lot down in the plant. And you remember the flight plan? So you have a bunch of nukes that are up there, and they're learning how to drive a ship. Well, what do you love doing as a nuke when you learn something new? Telling people about it. Well, we trained our throttlemen how to read the flight plans.
Ooh.
And so the throttlemen could read the flight plans as well as we could. And one of the things is that specifically the 2 EOS guys they would go read the flight plan, and they would, read the flight plan. They look at it like they'd see the turn, and they'd see the rudder start turning, like, oh, here's how the bells are going to operate. And so then the throttlemen were anticipating what was going on the bridge.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden it was like, because I remember when we first went into the throne, like, why is the bridge making us answer bells?
Right.
And I was like, no, well, here's why. And I was explaining it like, the winds suck, so we have to make the wind. And like, we started describing it to it, and all of a sudden the throttleman became super engaged.
Yeah, it's always better to do your job like that.
Yeah. Well,
why.
And then the other thing is that the SPOs started learning that I'm not there to fuck them, which was really a new thing for them. Because remember, like I would put my ass on the line. So when you're standing watch on the bridge, we've got the officer of the deck is looking at the 4 shaft speeds, and if one of them is off, he's going to call the EOW and yell at the EOW, and the EOW is going to call the watch officer and yell at the watch officer, right? And so I saw and the EOW is going to yell at the throttleman.
Yeah.
So I saw the OD going, why the fuck is number 3 shaft offline? Why is it not tracking? What's the issue with number 3 shaft? I'm like, God damn it. I pick up the phone, call TOS. I'm like, hey, you need to talk to number 3 throttleman and tell him to answer the order bell. I'm like, he goes, why are you calling me? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, fine. I hung up. And then the phone rings back. I'm like, thanks for giving me the heads up.
Yeah.
Like, and that was kind of my MO, was like, if I saw an issue, I would help the person fix it.
Did you get more? I was going to say what's more epic, but what did you like better, the bridge of a carrier or the bridge of a submarine?
I never served on the bridge of a submarine, but I qualified officer deck, but I never really stood it. Once I got qualified, I get back down in the plant nuke.
Okay.
But conning officer, I enjoyed conning officer. You get a lot of FaceTime with the captain. And it's working with boats is based now. And I made several of them cry accidentally, because you gave me a procedure and I followed the procedure. And if you are off on your rudder, you say, mind your helm. And apparently if you say that 3 times to the wrong helms woman, they start to have tears, and get relieved by the boats that made of the watch.
Like fucking Beetlejuice?
Yeah. Pretty much. And I was like, dude, why are you so mean? I'm like, but the procedure, I'm like, just walk up to him and ask him, like, oh, you gave me a procedure, damn it, I'm a nuke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now what's really interesting is that on our last deployment, we started in Everett, Washington, and we went west until we hit Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh wow.
Nice.
So yeah. So that was what we did, a around the world deployment. And we ended up in Newport News for overhaul, shipyard time number 4.
Jesus Christ.
So now I'm in the shipyard, and this is
back in the shipyard.
Back in Newport News, Virginia, for the overhaul.
Yeah.
And this is where Naval Reactors really started to love me even more. So one of my friends that had been an LDO on the California when I had left, he had left California and went to the field office. And so I'd be standing my duty days, standard duty days, right? And our guy comes down, does a monitor watch, and, I do my due diligence. Well, I'd, be walking home from my duty day, and my phone would ring, and it'd be Stan Keppinger. I'm like, hey, Stan, what's going on? He goes, how was your duty day yesterday? And I'm like, I was good. And he goes, well, how was that monitor watch? I said, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there were a few comments. He goes, well, there were 7 when he started. There were 0 when he walked off. This guy's getting his ass reamed right now. Because I I would put my regulatory hat on. And I knew what was expected from Will Knoll, and I made the RDOs know what the requirement was. And so they go debrief the RDO and literally would just beat the ever living piss out of these baby NROs that were from submarines.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a single comment to land.
Nice.
So I would like to win monitor watches. And he goes, yeah. He goes, these guys are throwing hard hats. They're so pissed. He goes, it's the funniest thing in the world. Everyone knows when you're on duty because the next when they come back, they're fucking throwing shit and they're so pissed because they can't get comments to land. I'm like, if they pulled up in the fucking book, they'd know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if they could open a book and going back to my NR days, I did that once. And it was on the 70. I made a comment that I didn't pull the book out. And I got done with my report at 5 and got told to fix it. And so at 5 p.m., I walked my ass down to that ship in the middle of August and pulled the book out, revised my comment, went to the RDO, revised the comment, and said, all right, I'll be back. I learned my lesson and never did it again.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
that
what I was doing was I was teaching them. I also technically got an NR hold placed, but we didn't log it because the words matter. So we had done a big chloride cleanup in all 3 units of Abraham Lincoln. I say 3 because we crapped up unit 2 twice.
Chloride cleanup.
Nice.
Yeah, we had high chlorides in all 12 steam generators.
Fucking hard pass on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, here's my favorite. So I did the 2 plant cleanup, did the 1 plant cleanup. And then when I went back to the 2 plant, or when I went back and had a duty day, like, yeah, we crapped them. Like, well, are you freaking kidding me? All right.
The worst casualty procedure to follow of all time.
Yeah.
We were shut down cool down. So it wasn't,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were shut down cool down. So it's not as bad. But yes, so I'm sitting there and we're doing the chloride, or I was getting ready to brief for the duty day. And they're like, hey, Mark, we're putting you in 2 plant because the 1 plant watch officer did a cleanup their last duty day. And I'm like, and? Like, well, yeah, we want to make sure they have a break. I said, well, I've done a chloride cleanup like the last 4 duty days I've had.
Oh my God.
So can I get a fucking break? No. All right. Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Looks like I'm doing drain and fills. Thanks.
The reinsertion will continue until morale improves.
Yeah. Well, and during that chloride cleanup, I have my most famous log entry where the reactor duty officer wanted to send me to captain's mast because of my log entry. I also delayed the establishment of the joint test group by 2 weeks because of said log entry.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Because I violated OP Alpha 1 under orders by the reactor officer.
Oh, interesting.
We were doing chloride cleanup. Guess what had failed during our cleanup process? Oh, our potable water service. Our DI water service.
Oh shit.
Nice.
So
that's gonna make it hard.
Yeah. So we are trying to do cleanup. I have maybe enough water for half a steam generator in 2 plant. 1 plant transfers all the water they can to keep themselves above the OP Alpha 1 limits. I now have enough water for 2 steam generator cleanups. So I'm like, all right. I called the rack duty officer who was the CRA. And I go, Mark, I don't have enough water to do this cleanup. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I can do 1, maybe 2, or we're going to be in violation of OP Alpha 1. I'm like, he goes, reactor officer says, make it happen. I'm like, Mike, I'm going to protest. We can't do this. We're going to be in violation of OP Alpha 1. Can't do that. He goes, RO understands. He acknowledges. Make it happen.
Whoa.
Roger that. I will carry out my order.
Damn.
Understand. I will be making a log entry stating that you are informed, ordered by reactor officer. And I said you will be in violation of OP Alpha 1 minimum water inventory requirements for cleanup during chloride cleanup. Or water during chloride cleanup.
They were cool with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so RDO was like, yep, understand.
Yikes.
Damn.
We lost suction. We lost suction on all reserve feed inner bottoms.
Yeah, because it's dry.
Turn this thing off. I'm dry.
I made the log entry. I made the log entry and then go off, right? And they're like, and it was like, yeah, like Ara wanted to mast you for that. I'm like, for the truth? He goes, that's why you didn't go to mast. It was for the truth, but really wanted to mast you because we were supposed to establish a joint test group the following day.
Oh,
and
man.
Dave Aronowitz, the chief test engineer, who's a good friend of mine, and I had gotten to know me, and I'd known him from my NR days. He goes, if you establish a joint test group, I'm establishing a problem severity level 1 major incident report.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Get your water fixed.
That's a good bargaining chip.
Yeah. Get your water fixed. It took 2 weeks to refill the reserve feed at our bottoms.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Yeah. So that was a fun one. And then there's the time that I made NR request that I corrected NR and made him request permission to enter EOS. That was another good one. So for some reason, all right, let me back up. So now Vice Admiral Thomas, Captain Thomas was our CO at the time, and he had been Bowman's aide when Bowman was NR. So picked a pilot to be his aide. So Captain Thomas understood the psyche of naval reactors better than probably most carrier COs. So he knew that I had been fired from Naval Reactors and Donald had left, and then the new director of naval nuclear propulsion is coming in. So he knew that he wanted to tell a story that was not about how bad the carrier sucks, but let's make this into personality. Specifically, well, why'd you fire Mr. Schneider?
Nice.
So they're doing the tours, right? You hear the announcement, announcement over over the freaking the 7MC or whatever it was, the commanding officer, the executive officer, reactor officer, naval reactors are in one reactor room, one machinery room, and going through that.
Nice. I wish we did that.
That was a requirement on the Lincoln. So then,
okay.
They come into my plant. I have the reactor duty operating guidance. That was our version of the engineer standing orders. And it said anytime the commanding officer, engineering officer, reactor officer, engineer officer are in one of the following spaces, announce when they are in that space over the 2MC.
Mm-hmm.
And so, all right, I get the announcement. Hey, naval reactors, commanding officer, reactor officer, and executive officer are in 2 main machinery room. I pick up the announcement. The commanding officer, the executive officer, and the reactor officer are in 2 main machinery room. Phone immediately rings. Why did you announce naval reactors? It's not the reactor department operating guidance. Boom. Then I get the call.
Yeah.
Naval reactors, the commanding officer, the reactor officer, or the executive officer, reactor officer are in 2 reactor room. Very well. The commanding officer, the executive officer, the reactor officer are in 2 reactor room. Phone rings again. Why didn't you answer? Again, it's not the reactor.
It's still not in there, man.
Still not in there. I checked again. It's still not.
It is the best way to get somebody with one of those is to just do it when they expect something else. It's always like, wait, can you do that?
Yeah, you can actually.
Yeah, reader, it's right here.
But yeah, so then they come up to EOS, right? And I get the the CO enters first. He goes, entering EOS, entering I, sir. The reactor officer enters. Reactor officer entering. Entering I, sir. Will Knoll enters. Request permission to enter EOS for tour. Enter, sir. Admiral Richardson. Entering for tour. Pardon me, Admiral. In accordance to the engineering department manual, only the commanding officer, executive officer, reactor officer of the watch, or propulsion plant watch officer can state they are entering EOS unless it is designated in writing, and Naval Reactors is not in our manual designated in writing. So per the manual, request permission to enter and state reason. And he goes, you're correct. Request permission to enter for tour. Enter, Admiral. Nice. And then the executive officer entering EOS. Entering I, sir. So
you think that was more test or more mistake?
It was mistake.
Yeah.
It was mistake.
I think he might have turned that into a test, because I've heard of people needing to tell Richardson the same thing after that.
Well, he asked the CO why the one plant watch officer didn't challenge him.
Oh, okay. So immediately after. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, like after he had left, I'd heard. But what was really funny, so we're going around talking.
He's rubbing his hands. Like, I got something. That's this other guy.
And Captain Thomas is legitimately rubbing his hands, and he goes, yeah. He goes, Mr. Schneider used to work for you. In fact, he used to work for Mr. Knoll. Brings it up in EOS.
Oh,
nice.
Nice.
And so they all walk out, and Captain Thomas lingers, winks at me, and then walks out.
That's really cool.
Damn.
That is really cool.
I was like, because I wasn't on duty that day. I literally went into work, and I get told, you're the you need to go down to 2 plant and relieve. You're the 2 plant watch officer. I'm like, it's not my fucking duty day. The captain had hand selected me to be the 2 plant watch officer just for that wink.
Yep. That is pretty sweet.
I love that. Yeah.
Probably sucked until it happened.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.